It begins with a quiet evening shift, the kind of night where a routine feels harmless, almost invisible. You carry yourself through the hours with an ease no one questions, folding small details into neat corners, answering texts that look ordinary, smiling in ways that don't give away anything. But underneath, a current is already flowing, something stronger than the ordinary fabric of the day. The affair doesn't crash into your life like a storm, it seeps in like candlelight under a door. You notice first in the gentle way your laughter lingers around her, the way her hand brushes too long when passing a plate, or the pause that follows a simple question. It's in those pauses, those fleeting seconds, where the world changes. You still keep everything balanced, the nephew stopping by for help with homework, the groceries resting on the counter, the hum of television in the next room. Nothing outwardly strange. And yet, inside, you're rehearsing how to breathe normally while your heart beats faster than it should. She smiles in that slightly tilted way, as if she knows the game you're both playing, and the room feels smaller, softer. You pretend to adjust a picture frame on the wall, but really you're studying yourself. You wonder if anyone else would see it, the spark, the delicate electricity between you, but no one does. The secret stays safe in the folds of your quiet shift. There's a human experience here you recognize instantly, the thrill of hiding something beautiful, mixed with the fear of being seen. It's the same feeling as sneaking a cookie from the jar as a child, except now the stakes are measured in trust and blood ties. Your chest tightens, but not with regret. More like with anticipation. You catch her reflection in the glass window, hair falling across her cheek, and you memorize it like it's the only photograph you'll ever have. She taps her tea mug twice before taking a sip, a small quirk you've come to treasure. That sound, the soft tap of ceramic, echoes in your chest like a secret code only the two of you know. And yet, there is always the shadow thought. What happens when this world you've built in whispers collides with the one everyone else believes in? You tell yourself you'll cross that bridge later, but you still wonder if later will come sooner than you want. For now, though, the night is yours. A shift that feels ordinary from the outside, extraordinary from within. You tuck away the memory like a folded letter, pressing it into the unseen pocket of your life, where it beats quietly alongside your heart. The days begin to stretch into patterns, each one stitched with quiet glances and gentle touches that would mean nothing to anyone else, but to you, they mean everything. You wake, eat, and move through your routines like any other person. Yet beneath the surface, every detail hums with hidden meaning. You sit across from her at a crowded table, maybe surrounded by relatives or neighbors, and the air feels ordinary. But when her eyes find yours, just for a second, you feel the rest of the world blur into background noise. She doesn't need to smile. She only tilts her gaze slightly, and you know. The message is clear, carried silently between you like a folded note slipped under a desk. Those hidden glances become your oxygen. They sustain you in the middle of long afternoons when your phone buzzes with family messages, when your nephew asks for a ride when bills sit unpaid on the counter. Life marches forward, but the electricity of one look rewires everything. You notice the quirks that no one else does. She bites her lower lip when she's trying not to laugh. She stirs her coffee longer than necessary, letting the spoon clink against the mug as though the rhythm itself calms her. And when she brushes past you in the hallway, the sleeve of her sweater grazing your arm, you feel it like a spark too small for the eye to see, but strong enough to light up your entire chest. This is the experience most people don't talk about, the way secrecy makes the smallest gesture feel enormous. You think of those hidden glances long after they're gone, replaying them at night like lullabies only you can hear. And sometimes you wonder if she's doing the same. Your nephew doesn't notice, not yet. He plays games on his phone, laughs too loud at memes, sprawls on the couch as though the world has no shadows. You envy his innocence, the way his heart doesn't carry this double beat. You imagine what it would be like if he looked up suddenly, caught the flicker of your eye meeting hers. Would he understand? Or would everything shatter? For now, you tell yourself it's safe. It has to be. After all, you've built the rules carefully. No long phone calls, no sudden disappearances, just the stolen looks when no one else pays attention. It's almost harmless, you say, almost. But then she tucks her hair behind her ear in that soft, unconscious way, and your breath catches. Almost harmless turns into almost too much. You feel a rush of warmth in your face, and you glance quickly away, pretending to study the pattern on the tablecloth. The truth is, you're drowning in those moments, willingly. And as night falls again, you carry the day's exchanges in your chest. The look in her eyes becomes a lighthouse you steer toward in the dark. Still, a whisper of a thought follows you. How long can glances remain invisible before someone else learns to read them? The first secret meeting doesn't happen with fireworks or a grand plan. It begins almost accidentally, like a page that slips from a book and lands open where you can't ignore it. The night is quiet, heavy, with the kind of silence that makes every sound feel sharper. You tell yourself you're only stepping outside for air, only walking to clear your mind. But then she's there too, as if drawn by the same invisible thread. The street lamp buzzes faintly, painting the sidewalk in amber light. You stand a few steps apart at first, your breath fogging in the cool air. Neither of you speaks right away, and yet the silence isn't empty. It's full of everything you've left unsaid. When she finally looks at you, the world narrows to just that moment, the way her eyes hold both mischief and fear at once. You think of all the stories that warn against this kind of closeness, all the voices in your head telling you it's easier to walk back inside, but you don't. You stay. And when she laughs softly, barely above a whisper, it feels like permission. The first touch is simple, almost clumsy. Her hand brushes yours as if by mistake, but neither of you pulls away. You feel the warmth seep into your skin, and you keep walking side by side, hearts racing in quiet synchronization. It's not a kiss, not yet. It's something smaller and somehow more dangerous. The decision not to let go. Every detail etches itself into you. The faint smell of lavender from her scarf. The way she keeps tapping her thumb against her palm, nervous and excited at once. You catch yourself staring at her silhouette in the half-light, and you know you'll remember it like a photograph you never actually took. There's a sweetness here, but also a weight. You recognize it instantly, the human experience of wanting two things at once, safety and risk, comfort and danger. You ache for her presence even as you fear its cost. Your mind whispers that you're crossing a line, but your body leans closer, carried by the gravity of her nearness. Later, when you finally do share a kiss, it's quiet, hesitant, the kind of kiss that trembles more with relief than passion. And still, it changes everything. It feels like stepping through a door you can never close again. You lie awake that night, replaying it in fragments. The sound of her voice saying your name softly, the texture of her coat sleeve brushing against yours, the way you both laughed too hard at something unfunny just to break the tension. You wonder if she's awake too, thinking the same thoughts, or if she's already found a way to tuck them neatly away. And you can't help but ask yourself, was it love you felt under that street lamp, or was it simply the comfort of being seen so completely? You don't know. Maybe you'll never know. But you do know one thing, there will be a second meeting. There always is. Life doesn't pause for secrets. It keeps moving, one meal, one errand, one family gathering at a time. You still wake up early to the sound of your phone alarm, still brew coffee in the same chip pot, still drive your nephew to places where he doesn't notice the world outside his headphones. On the surface, you're steady, predictable. But beneath that polished surface, you're juggling a second heartbeat, a hidden rhythm only you and she can hear. Living double lives becomes a skill in itself. You learn to tuck memories into small compartments, like folded papers hidden in the lining of a coat. The brush of her hand against yours, that stays hidden behind a smile when your nephew tells you about school. The way she whispered goodnight last week, her voice trembling just slightly. You bury that sound beneath the hum of the dishwasher. Still, the two worlds overlap in unexpected ways. You find yourself smiling more easily, humming tunes without realizing, laughing at jokes you might have let slide before. Your nephew notices and teases you for being in weirdly good moods. You laugh it off, but inside you know exactly why. You carry small tokens now. A dried flower she handed you absent-mindedly, tucked into the pages of a book. A napkin with her doodle on it, folded into your wallet. These things seem insignificant, yet they hold more weight than anything money could buy. They're proof that the hidden life is real, not just a dream. And yet, guilt weaves itself into the fabric of your days. It doesn't shout, it whispers. When your nephew leans his head against your shoulder during a movie, you feel the warmth of his trust and wonder if it would vanish if he knew. You trace the thought like a scar you can't erase. You also start to notice her quirks more deeply, as if magnified by secrecy. The way she always taps the edge of her notebook 3 times before writing. The way she leaves her tea to cool until it's lukewarm, even though she insists she loves it hot. These details anchor you, grounding the affair in the ordinary, in the human. There's a moment one afternoon when you catch yourself daydreaming, imagining what it would be like if everything were open. If you could walk into a room and hold her hand without hesitation. It's a dangerous thought, but also tender. You know better than to believe it could happen, yet the longing still settles in your chest like a quiet ache. The balance of 2 lives feels manageable for now. You still walk through the house with practiced calm, still answer questions with ease, still carry yourself like nothing is different. And yet, in the quiet moments, you recognize the truth. You're living not 1 life, but 2. And you wonder how long the threads can hold before someone else begins to notice the stitching. It happens on a day that begins like any other, ordinary in every sense. You're half distracted by errands. Your nephew is supposed to be at a friend's house, and the house feels safe, wrapped in the comfort of routine. That's what makes it so easy to let your guard down. You let the laughter spill too freely, the conversation stretch too long, the closeness blur into something tangible. And then, without warning, there's the sound of the door opening. A voice calling, casual and unbothered, "Hey, I'm back." The air stiffens. Your stomach knots before your mind fully catches up. Your nephew steps into the room, phone in one hand, backpack slipping from his shoulder. His eyes flick around the space with the innocence of someone who expects nothing unusual. But then they land on you, on her. And the pause, barely a few seconds, feels like an eternity carved into silence. You watch his expression shift. At first, confusion. A small crease between his brows, as if he's trying to solve a puzzle that doesn't quite make sense. Then realization, dawning slowly but undeniably, spreading across his features like ink on paper. You scramble inside for words, excuses, anything that could soften the truth of what he's seen, but nothing comes. The room feels frozen, as if even the ticking of the clock has stopped to witness this moment. She lowers her gaze, her hand trembling slightly, and suddenly the laughter from a few minutes ago feels like a crime. There's a very human panic in moments like this, the need to protect, to fix, to undo. You clear your throat, force a steady tone, ask casually why he's home early. He answers, but his voice is flat, distracted. His eyes linger a second too long on the space between you and her. He doesn't press, doesn't question, but silence can speak louder than accusations. She excuses herself quickly, slipping away with a half smile that looks more like an apology. You stand in the doorway as she leaves, heart pounding with a rhythm you can't slow. And when you turn back to your nephew, he's already on the couch, scrolling through his phone, pretending everything is normal. But it's not. You can feel it in the heaviness of the air, in the way his shoulders are slightly stiffer than usual, and the absence of his usual chatter. Later that night, as you pass by his room, you hear the faint click of him turning off his phone screen just as you step closer. He's awake, lying in bed, pretending to sleep. And you wonder what's going through his head. Does he see you differently now? Does he carry your secret as a burden he never asked for? You lie in your own bed, unable to shake the image of his eyes widening, the way his world shifted in that single glance. And for the first time, the double life feels less like balance and more like betrayal. The days after that moment feel different, though nothing is said out loud. You move through the same routines, but every gesture carries a subtle weight. Every silence stretches just a little longer. Your nephew doesn't confront you. He never demands explanations, but his eyes tell you he's holding something he doesn't know have a name. You notice it first in the way he avoids lingering in the same room. Where he used to sprawl across the couch with ease, now he sits at the far end, shoulders angled slightly away. He laughs at videos on his phone, but the sound feels thinner, like it's missing its usual ease. You find yourself waiting for him to break the silence, to ask the question you dread, but he never does. That silence is louder than words could ever be. It's in those glances, his now, not hers, that you feel the storm gathering. They're quick, almost shy, but edged with something sharp. His gaze flickers over you when he thinks you're not paying attention, his jaw tightening for reasons he won't say. You want to explain, to reach across the distance, but what could you possibly say that would make sense? There's a moment one evening when he catches you off guard. You're in the kitchen, rinsing a mug, when you glance up to see him watching you. Not accusingly, not angrily, just watching, with eyes that seem older than they should. He turns away before you can speak, leaving behind an ache that words can't soothe. You think about how fragile trust really is, how quickly it can shift without a sound. 1 second it's as steady as a bridge, the next it's trembling, every step uncertain. And here you are, walking it in silence, afraid of where it might collapse. The experience is deeply human, the unbearable weight of things left unsaid. You carry the urge to confess, to unburden, but fear chains you. Instead, you cover it with ordinary gestures, asking about his classes, offering snacks, reminding him of appointments. He answers politely, but there's a distance in his voice, like a curtain has been drawn between you. One night, you hear him tapping his fingers against his desk while doing homework. The rhythm is restless, uneven, and it makes you think of her, how she always tapped her notebook 3 times before writing. The echo of that habit collides with the sound of his, and for a moment, you feel trapped between the two lives again. You lie awake wondering if he hates you now, or if hate is too strong a word. Maybe it's something quieter, disappointment, confusion, the kind of wound that lingers without bleeding. You wonder if he's keeping the secret because he doesn't know what else to do, or because he loves you enough to protect you despite it all. And in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, you can't help but think, silence can be more devastating than anger. You almost wish he would shout or ask or demand. Instead, you're left alone with the heaviness of unspoken realizations, shared in every glance and every pause between words. Dinner becomes the stage where everything unspoken gathers, dressed neatly in polite words and careful gestures. The table looks the same as always, plates stacked, silverware clinking, steam rising from the food. But the air feels heavier, thick with meanings no one dares name. You notice how your nephew avoids your eyes, focusing instead on pushing food around his plate. He laughs when someone else at the table makes a joke, but the sound doesn't linger. It falls flat like a pebble dropped into still water. And you sit there, chewing carefully, forcing yourself to appear normal, all the while aware of the widening gulf between you. She's there too, sitting just across. She doesn't look at you directly, but every movement feels amplified. When she reaches for the salt, Her hand trembles slightly, and you pretend not to notice. You focus instead on the small human details. The way she always arranges her fork and knife parallel before taking her first bite. The way she sips water in 2 quick gulps instead of 1. These quirks should be ordinary, but now they feel like signals, reminders of everything shared in secret. Conversation drifts from school to errands to weather. On the surface, it's as harmless as any family meal. But beneath, every sentence carries extra weight. When your nephew asks how your day was, his tone is casual, but his glance lingers just long enough to make your stomach tighten. He knows. He doesn't say it, but the knowing hangs in the room like smoke. You respond softly, choosing your words like stepping stones over a river you don't want to fall into. Busy, but fine, you say, and take another bite you can't taste. She shifts in her chair, and you feel her silence pressing against yours. It's a very human experience, this dance of politeness. You know it from countless gatherings before, the way people smile while holding back thoughts, the way tension hides under tablecloths, but never has it felt so personal, so fragile. You imagine your nephew sees straight through the meal, through your steady hands, through your rehearsed calm. At one point, he sets his fork down and taps the table absent-mindedly, a rhythm you recognize. Tap, tap, pause, tap. It echoes the nervous tapping she does with her tea mug, and for a heartbeat, the sound makes you wonder if he's doing it on purpose. If it's his silent way of telling you, I know, I'm not forgetting. You smile at him, though your throat feels dry. He doesn't return it. Instead, he picks up his fork again, stabbing a piece of food with unnecessary force. You hear the scrape of metal against porcelain, louder than it should be, and it slices through the quiet like an accusation. The meal ends without incident, no word spoken that could break the surface. But when you clear the dishes, you notice his plate is barely touched. And later, when you walk past his room, you see him sitting cross-legged on his bed, staring at the floor, phone forgotten beside him. You carry the image with you into the night, heavy and sharp. The dinner might have looked ordinary, but inside it was anything but. It was a performance, a silent play where everyone knew their lines, but refused to admit the script had changed. And as you lie awake, you wonder, how long can a secret stay buried under polite smiles before it claws its way into the open? The weight of secrets grows heavier with every passing day. You feel it in small ways, the slight tension when passing your nephew in the hallway, the way your chest tightens when she laughs in another room, the quiet ache that settles in your shoulders like a physical burden. Living this double life no longer feels like a delicate balancing act. It's a constant push and pull, a tug-of-war between heart and conscience. You notice yourself measuring every word now, even in casual conversation. A stray comment about her, even innocent, sends ripples through the air. You laugh at a joke and immediately catch yourself thinking, did that sound too familiar? Did I let my secret show? You replay moments in your mind, analyzing your gestures like a detective trying to solve a case that only you are aware of. There's an emotional subtlety to it, the quiet tension between longing and guilt. You find yourself watching her from across rooms, marveling at the way her hair falls over her shoulder, the gentle way she tilts her head when thinking. And yet, guilt sits like a shadow, reminding you that every stolen glance, every lingering touch carries consequences. Your nephew's presence magnifies the weight. Even when he's off doing something else, you feel the unspoken judgment in the air. It isn't angry or accusatory, it's something quieter, something that presses against the edges of your heart. You catch yourself imagining him piecing together fragments of what he's seen, wondering if he secretly forgives you or if he's silently disappointed. The ambiguity gnaws at you. You also start noticing tiny, almost comical patterns in her behavior, the way she taps. Her foot against the floor when thinking, the way she twirls a strand of hair absent-mindedly, the little noises she makes when lost in thought. Each quirk becomes a lifeline, a reminder that despite the heaviness, there is still intimacy, still connection, still a private world only the two of you inhabit. And then there's the human experience of waiting, the way time stretches unnaturally when your secret hovers over everyone else. Waiting for a word, a reaction, a sign that the equilibrium might break or hold. You wonder if you'll ever speak of it, if you'll ever ask, or if it will remain a delicate silence threading its way through your lives. You still trace the memory of that first meeting under the street lamp, and you still wonder if it was love or comfort that drew you both together. The answer doesn't come, but the reflection lingers like a shadow that grows longer each evening. And through it all, you realize the secret isn't just hers or yours. It's shared now, carried silently by those who witness its aftermath without uttering a word. The weight presses down, but there's a strange tenderness in it too. A quiet understanding that even in betrayal, bonds remain, delicate yet unbroken. Time moves forward in small, almost imperceptible ways. The tension you felt after the revelation doesn't vanish, but it softens, morphing into a quieter, subtler rhythm. Your nephew still doesn't speak of what he saw, but the way he moves around the house changes. There's an unspoken understanding now, a delicate dance where everyone adapts, silently negotiating the edges of truth. You notice moments of unexpected tenderness, a glance that lingers just a little too long, a small smile exchanged when no one else is watching. It isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, but it's unmistakable. It's his silent acknowledgement that he's seen, that he knows, and that he's willing somehow to navigate this strange territory with you. It's a very human experience, this quiet forgiveness. He doesn't lecture or accuse. He simply shifts his behavior in ways that protect both your dignity and his own. The casual jokes return, though tempered with a new layer of awareness. He asks about your day, but the questions are softer now, more thoughtful, as if he's testing the waters without breaking the surface. You notice her too, how she senses the new rhythm, the subtle changes in household dynamics. Her presence becomes a gentle reassurance, a reminder that not all mistakes or secrets destroy what we care for most. The two of you navigate these moments with the kind of care that can only come from shared vulnerability. Every laugh, every whispered word, every tiny act of kindness builds bridges in silence. Still, there's room for reflection. You wonder about the choice you made, the secret carried too long, and the way it could have shattered trust entirely. And yet, the slow, careful way your nephew adapts shows you something remarkable. Forgiveness doesn't always need words. It can live in gestures, in patient understanding, in quiet acceptance. You trace the memory of that first awkward, accidental touch, and you feel warmth bloom in your chest. It's a reminder that human bonds, complicated, fragile, messy, can endure even the weight of mistakes. You think about how small acts of patience and empathy have softened the edges of betrayal into something that feels almost like grace. And in the middle of it all, you catch yourself wondering whether this delicate equilibrium could have existed at all without the silent forgiveness that grew between the three of you. It's fragile, yes, but it's also profoundly tender, a quiet testament to the resilience of human connection. The affair begins to fade, not with a dramatic ending, but with the gentle ebb of time. The stolen moments grow less frequent, the secret glances softer, and the intensity that once consumed your heart settles into memory. Life resumes a quieter rhythm, as if the universe itself has granted permission to let go, to step back into ordinary days without losing the tenderness that was shared. You notice the small ways it leaves its mark. A half smile at a remembered joke, the way her scent lingers on a scarf left behind, the echo of laughter that rises in your mind unbidden. These traces are gentle reminders that even fleeting connections leave impressions that endure. And as you navigate each day, You carry a new awareness of how fragile and precious human bonds can be, even in complicated forms. Your nephew moves more comfortably now, as if the unspoken acknowledgement of what he witnessed has settled into the background. He's quieter, yes, but less tense. More observant, more reflective. You find yourself smiling at him in a way that blends pride and relief, recognizing the grace it took for him to accept, without words, a truth he didn't choose to see. There's a human experience in endings like this, a mix of relief, sadness, and wonder. You feel the warmth of memories alongside the soft ache of what is no longer present. And yet, there's comfort in knowing that even as the affair fades, the lessons, the emotions, the tender glimpses of intimacy remain, shaping the way you move forward. You reflect on the delicate forgiveness your nephew showed, the quiet patience and understanding that allowed the family to continue without rupture. And in that reflection, you recognize a rare kind of beauty, a testament to the power of empathy and the resilience of relationships, even after disappointment. At night, when the house is quiet and the lights dimmed, you trace the memory of her presence, the sound of her laughter, the brush of her hand, letting it fade gently into the soft hum of your life. You realize that endings are not always dramatic. Sometimes they're whispered, leaving room for growth, understanding, and the quiet celebration of what once was. And so, as you tuck the memories carefully into your heart, you feel a gentle peace, knowing that life moves on, and that even secrets and betrayals can leave behind something beautiful when met with patience and grace. The house is quiet now. You lie back, letting the tension of the day drift away like mist over a still pond. Thoughts of stolen glances, whispered words, and tender moments slowly soften, folding into memory without urgency. Each heartbeat slows, each breath deepens, carrying the warmth of understanding and the gentle weight of what has passed. You think of your nephew, of his quiet acceptance, and the way it has shaped the rhythm of your days. There is a calm in knowing that even when hearts carry secrets, empathy can bridge the spaces between. The memory of shared laughter, the light brush of hands, the tiny, almost comical habits, all of it fades into a gentle glow. A reminder of the human capacity to forgive, to cherish, and to move forward. Even the tension of the past seems softer now. What once felt heavy and urgent now rests like a feather in your chest. You can smile at the recollection, letting it pass through you without grasping too tightly. There is beauty in impermanence, and understanding that moments, no matter how fleeting, can leave lasting impressions of tenderness and intimacy. As your eyes grow heavy, imagine the quiet rhythm of your own life continuing around you, steady and safe. The day's worries dissolve, leaving only the gentle pulse of breath and heartbeat. The world outside hums softly, the night holds you with calm, and the memories you carry nestle gently into your heart, a soft whisper of connection and grace. Let the hush of this moment fill you, let the soft shadows lull you into rest. Tonight, there is no rush, no expectation, only the serene unfolding of your life, tender and unbroken. Sleep now, cradled in the quiet, and know that the world, with all its complications, still holds space for understanding, forgiveness, and gentle love.